a 1099 at the end of the year. You have to send an individual a 1099 at the end of the year if you pay them $600 or more cumulative in the course of that year. Doesn't matter if it was $1,010 payments. If it adds up to $600 or more by the time it's year end, then you have to send them a 1099. And I would highly and strongly suggest the very first time you pay an individual, and you realize they're an individual that would probably get a 1099, have them fill out what's called a W-9 form. That is your tax information you will need to send them a 1099. Because I can't tell you all the clients we've had that are disturbed at the end of the year, like the brick mason I had, that had huge turnover in his business. Well, all these people he had at the beginning of the year are now long gone, and they were the ones that, and he treated them as independent contractors, and they didn't fill out the tax information form, the W-9. So now he has all these 1099s he should have done, but he doesn't have the information to do it. So I suggest you trade off on that first check with a W-9 form in order before you even give it to him, because that protects you. And if you don't have that, IRS will not allow that as a deduction if they don't have, or they'll treat them as an employee, is what they'll do. And they will charge you all the employee taxes and employer taxes back to you. And one other thing you can do with these customer screens, let's just say I have a customer here that I pick names out of random. A lot of people don't notice there's a notes button up here. Well, it may be that you can record, you can use that to record information about a particular resident. Like this one here, he had an issue with his funding in October, payment will be made around the 14th, 15th. Or this person has a DNR in place. You know, just information for you to keep on each resident that you have. It's specific to them, you can date stamp it as to when you put it in, and it's a really neat thing to track. You can even set up to-dos, to-do lists for these people. Things you need to do for this customer. Oh, I need to get this medication for this person, he's about to run out or something. And it'll be very easy to set up. And so it's just another way that you can use this software as somewhat of a CRM. But also, more important, this really gives you some good information specific to that resident that you can track. And even in the custom fields that I have set up, you can track, you can set these custom fields, you can define what you want to have. And you can say, all right, I want to see these items on the customer screen, these items on the vendor screen, and whatever items on the employee screens. But you can track their birthdays, something to help you keep track of when they, do something special maybe for them, or if they have a DNR in place, or emergency contact information. So if you need to know that, you can track all that right there. There's also usually at least 2, maybe even 3 different ways of doing the same thing. And so it really makes it sort of nice on that thing. Because like, for instance, if I'm going to write a check to somebody, and I want to write it to John Smith, okay. I have Smith in there, so I'm going to say Smith or whatever. And I go to Tip Taffy, oh, this person isn't in there. You want to set them up? Yeah, that sounds good. I can either just add his name only, or I can actually set them up with all the other information. So the software makes things very easy to use. And so you can do changes, as they say, on the fly, which a lot of other softwares don't allow that. And some places insist you set it up first before you can do any activity with that customer. This one lets you do that. So I could have set him up right here. Okay, the classes are very easy to set up, where you basically, there's under the list menu, there's a thing for class list, and you can easily add a new class if I wanted to. I set up 3 classes, or locations if you want to think of that, location A, B, and C. Simple. And now all I have to do is when I have a new transaction, if I want to write a check, you'll notice I have a field for class, and it gives me those locations. So all I have to do is to tag that location to either income coming in or expense going out. And if I do that, then I can later run reports that is, say, profit and loss on the company financial. I can run a profit and loss report. Whoops, I didn't stand. I can run a profit and loss by class. And now, collapse that down. So I can see by location, this is how much income I have for this location, the expenses, and this is the profit or loss if it's negative. This for this location, so much income, so much expenses, that's the profit, that's the profit. And then it gives you a combination, grand total. And also I can later, in any of the reports that I do, I can customize the report. And I can say, well, let me just see under class, oops, class, I can't see, here it goes, class. There we go. I only want to see location A, what happened here. Okay, so now you have your report just on location A. Or I can say multiple locations, just give me A and B. But it's, a lot of these reports that you can run now, after you get all this data in, can be good management information for you to see what's going on in a particular location. I'm going to go back to this customize, and it goes right back to the other forms. But you can do this on a lot of the different reports. You can really isolate what you want to do. You can isolate it down to one individual if you want to, one resident, any number of things. So it's really neat what you can do after you get the data in if you use a software like this. You cannot do this if you're doing a lot of manual bookkeeping or using an Excel spreadsheet or a lot of the other softwares. That's what I wanted to show you, is the power of this software if you go to use it for what you're doing. And you can isolate issues. I'll give you an example. Medical, let's find something that seems a little, well, this doesn't matter. I can just pick a category. You'll notice I double-clicked on that number and it broke it out into more detail. Oh, well, what goes on on this one? I can double-click that number. I can drill all the way down to the actual entry that caused that data to appear in that report. Or I can say, all right, I charged this to location B, this is what it was for, and this is who it was to. And so this is one of the nice things also about the software, the way it interfaces with what you're trying to do and give you that management report. So anytime you see this pointer change from a point or an arrow type thing to a different thing like it just did, that means you can drill down and double click on that item and it will take you into further detail. And this on a lot of the reports that you get to, you'll see that. And even if I wanted to, oh, I don't need this, I don't need to care about this column here, you can even change the way it looks quickly and easily by modifying stuff. I don't have to do it again. But anyhow, there's just a lot of fun stuff you can do with this software if you let it work for you. A lot of people just use it to enter the data and give it to their CPA for tax time. They don't use it to actually run the business. And that's what you need to do. That's where your forte is in running the business. Is in running the business, and you need to know what's going on within your business. And what better way than if you can manipulate the data in any number of ways. To give you an example, on this report, I can do sales by, remember you set up those items? This shows me, for this time period, whatever time period you specify, you have 9 people at this care level that you charge an average rate of $1,000. Or you have in care level 2, 5 people in this time period, average rate of $2,000. 7 people had this service, 1 person in that service. You had 10 people in charge for single room occupancy and 4 people in double room occupancy. And also these number of gloves and other things. It tells you exactly what you paid as an overall on an average. So again, it's all about getting the data back out, what you put into it. And that can only be done if you use a software like this.
And this one, is this a Pro or?
Well, this is actually a Premier Accounts Edition, but everything I'm showing you right now you can do on the Pro. Okay? So, unfortunately, I have versions going back to, I have 15 years of versions. Put it that way. So it's amazing.
How long is the life on it? I mean, every year they come out with a new one, so.
Good point. Just because they upgrade the software doesn't mean you need to go out and buy that new version. Look at what changed from one version to the next and see if those new changes are something that you would like to have and are willing to pay the upgrade price to get. Otherwise, you can use, if you're not doing payroll internally in QuickBooks, you can, I have many clients that stay on that